I mean, I've always thought this, but the difference is now, like, I know that it still can work for you. You can ignore it, right? You can just ignore the depression, but I can't ignore the depression because, like, if this is like mental state, right, constantly, and this is the green zone, right? So this is when you're happy, and this is the fucking, like, this is the red zone where you're unhappy, right? And this is the grey zone. This is the grey zone of deep depression where you really don't want to be. And this is the ecstasy zone, right? Right. It takes so much to trigger my ecstasy zone now. Like, I have to make like a life-changing fucking achievement to get into the ecstasy zone now. I get into the ecstasy zone maybe once every 2 years now. The last time it happened was when Rubek came out. But what happens is you look at the graph, once you transpose up to right, I feel like it's more of a Fourier transform, right? As soon as something amazing happens, you get this Fourier transform. You get boop, and then you get, and then it's even lower than you started, right? So wherever you were on this scale. Now I'm not going to pretend that I'm not a bag of chemicals and I'm not like up and down, and I probably have like a myriad. I probably have like a monthly cycle or whatever, because that's what humans are like. I've never tried to measure it, but like I'm probably about once a month I go into a deep depression. But most people might go around there or something, right? Or like they might even be in if they're a lucky motherfucker, they might be in there. Hey, if they're really fucking stupid, they might even be here. Okay, I'm gonna stop dropping the idea that stupidity is correlated with happiness. But I think if you're too stupid to think about the consequences of things, you might be more happy in general. But I'm not gonna speculate about that. But there's probably stupid, unhappy people as well. So let's not bring intelligence into it anymore, because it's arrogant anyway. But either way, right? There's people who are very lucky motherfuckers who are here, and they just like maybe occasionally, oh, I got dumped and I'm down here, but like now I'm back up again, right? Some people fucking toe this line, right? Or they toe this line. This is the average, right? In fact, no, I think the average is probably above that, because otherwise what's the fucking point? Yeah, I know. But right, here's what's the fucking point, right? Here's what's the fucking point. If you're okay, wait, no. If you're oscillating on this line, right? Then that means that 50% of your life is worth living and the other 50% is not worth living. Yeah. Right. So, when you're at that point, you could argue that life is still worth living, but as soon as you drop beneath that, then you're at net loss, right? If you average your life, if you like, you have some great distribution of your life, right, and your happiness at each point, and if you sum it, then you're gonna form some kind of like distribution, right? You're gonna right. Let's say your distribution, and most people's distribution is probably some kind of Gaussian or something, but mine's like a bright Wigner, right? So I'm like this, right? And this is happiness up here, right? And this is unhappiness. So then if you fucking integrate this shit, then you're gonna get a big life of fucking unhappiness, right? And there's no cure for it. I can't go to a person in a room who's gonna be like, oh, well, Alex, actually, this is great. See this thing that's your life. This is good now. Like that's life, right? Whereas, and maybe, right, you can get antidepressants and go right on this curve, but then you're literally, again, that's being a junkie, right? You may as well be taking heroin. You may as well be just smoking weed all day. You may as well you're just fucking cheating the curve, and that's not your brain, right? If you're on antidepressants and shit, that's not you. That's some mutant version of you that's been trained to think that it doesn't matter, that there's no point to anything. Yeah, but you could go on meds, and I'm sure I could go on meds, but I'm not on meds now. Do I want, like, I'm here, right? And I know that I could get here maybe if I took magic pills that make me forget that this is reality. Because I want you to remember that that's what life is, right? That, like, this isn't wrong. I think that's the thing that people think. Like, people look at this and they're like, that's mental. This is wrong. And this bit where you live and there's no point living, but you pretend that there's meaning to living, and you take drugs to make you feel like there's point to a meaningless existence. This is sanity, right? Oh, this is so great. Whereas this person, oh, this is bad. This is wrong think. You're not supposed to think like that, right? I'm here, right? And I'm looking out, and I see clearly, and I know. I understand the fucking, like, oh my god. Here's the universe, right, on a 2D scale, right? And they always visualize it stupidly because the people don't know what the Big Bang is, right? People think that people are stupid, right? The universe was not like this and then the Big Bang happened and shoved matter into space, right? This is what the universe was. It was a point, if we're right. It was a point, and everything in the universe, it was like zero dimensional, right? And it had all the energy in the universe. And remember, time is a dimension. People think that it sat around for a while. It didn't sit around. It created time. The very first thing that ever happened. People don't understand this idea of the universe before time, right? The universe didn't exist before time. There's no such thing as before time, because before is a function of time, right? So the very first thing that happened, there was no sitting around waiting. The universe exploded into existence, right? And it didn't explode into matter. It went boom, boom, boom. It created height, width, and depth, right? And it also created time, right? And every point, here is the beginning of the universe, and here is the beginning of the universe. Because if you look at a balloon that gets blown up, right, and you look at here's the balloon, right, and then it gets blown into this, right. These were all at the center. Every point on this balloon used to be in the center, right? So the universe started everywhere, right? There's no center of the universe. It started everywhere. Every point is accelerating away from every other point, like every point of the balloon expands away from every other point, right? So there's the universe. And the fun thing about the universe is that the density of the universe is so close to a very special constant that we don't know what's going to happen, right? So one of three things is going to happen. Either it's going to go boom and it's going to keep expanding in this toroidal shape or whatever. And it eventually, let's just envision it as a circle for now, even though that's stupid and flawed and it's not a circle, right? It gets to a circle and then it's like, oh no, it's above the critical density, and it crushes, and everything, boom, all the energy in the fucking universe goes back together and falls in and destroys itself, right? That's one of the three things that could happen. The second thing that could happen is that the universe expands, right, up to a certain point, right? It keeps expanding and it expands forever. It's called a big yawn. Okay. And then boom, it expands forever, and then what happens is the second law of thermodynamics, right? The most important law there is that you cannot break. There's no way to fucking break this law. This is the law. Like gravity, nah, you can probably break that shit, right? Or if there's one fucking law that you cannot get around, it's the second law of thermodynamics, right? That's entropy's always increasing. Okay, you can kind of get around with it in a lab. You can make entropy decrease, but the entropy of the universe will always increase, right? Entropy is always fucking going up, and you can't escape that shit. So whatever happens, it doesn't matter if humans get here and explore the whole universe and get to Andromeda and blah, 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 blah. And they're not going to, by the way, because we're like, look at us. We can't even, you can't even live in the Arctic, right? You can't even live on your own planet. How are you gonna, like, robots will get to space maybe, and AI, but humans are too impractical to transport into extremely cold conditions and extremely hot conditions. But even if they did, right, let's say we figured out teleportation or whatever, and we will never figure out time travel, by the way, because people have this misconception about time travel that maybe we can change the past. You can't. entropy always increases, right? As I told you, entropy always increases. You can go back in time, but entropy will increase backwards, right? This is what it normally looks like. Here's if you go back in time, and entropy still increases, right? So even if you go back in time, it basically it's essentially like going forward in time. As far as you're concerned, it makes no difference. So there's no time travel, right, for a start. And we're in a left-handed universe. That's another interesting thing. But anyway, none of this matters, right? Like any of it. The point is, the universe, it expands into a big crunch, right? There's a third, it's called an asymptotic universe. It expands up to a point. Right, so if nothing else happens, everything eventually becomes heat, right? All the energy becomes heat, the universe dies a heat death. Nothing can exist anymore because the entropy increases. Every time you stir your coffee, you're bringing the death of the universe forward just some slight amount, and there's nothing you can do about that. The universe you're destroying the whenever you breathe, you're destroying the universe a little. You're bringing it a bit closer. In fact, the moral thing to do is to kill yourself, right? Anyway, but we're all destroying the universe just by existing. Once you I mean, there's other things, right? The universe lots of things can destroy the universe. Strangeness can destroy the universe, because you've got this standard model, right? You've got the quarks, and there's you've got up, down, top, bottom, strange and charm, right? And strange quarks have this property called strangeness, and even if the universe survived a heat death, everything would become strange eventually, because strangeness just keeps happening. So everything that's made of quarks right now would become super heavy, strange quarks. So if the universe doesn't die of heat, it dies of strangeness, right? The negative strangeness. There's just maybe by some fucking crazy, maybe we can escape the simulation, right? Because by the way, the universe is a simulation. Maybe we. I can convince you of that later, right? Maybe we can signal, hey, whoever's running this experiment and doesn't care that we exist, hey, summon us out of there, and then we'll move one layer up the tree of infinite universes, right? And we'll never get to the top. Or maybe we will. Maybe there's a universe up there. Maybe you go enough layers high enough, suddenly something makes sense. But right now, there's no point to anything, none of it makes sense. Well, it makes sense, but it's pointless. So, armed with all this information, and armed that even if you change the fucking world, even if I became an indie gajillionaire and then funneled that all into venture capital and funded neuroscience and AI, and my company was responsible for the AI revolution, and the AI revolution got into space, and we had this super mega computer that can think about everything, right, and solve all our problems, and hopefully doesn't kill us, but probably would, right? Then even if, best case scenario, all of this shit happened, and I was the one who revolutionized the entire future, and my name goes in history forever, and I live forever because I cure all the things, then I still don't live forever, and my ideas don't live forever, and my memetics don't live forever, and nothing I do ever matters because the universe dies a heat death, and there's no way of stopping that. You can't reverse entropy, you just cannot. So, there's literally no point to anything. And if you're in this zone where you're like, oh, I recognize that the whole of my achievement in my entire lifetime, even though I'm just some tiny monkey, right, and I'm on some irrelevant planet, and I'm probably in a simulation and nothing I ever do matters, right? If you're in this zone that is aware of all of this, then this is called insanity, and they pump you full of drugs and push you through to this zone where you pretend that shit matters when you demonstrably know that it really does not, and everything you know about science tells you that there's fucking no point to anything. So this black abyss of evil that is reality, right? You're not supposed to think about that. I don't really spend money. No, I don't spend money. But also, I hoard money, but is it important to me? I mean, it's important in that it is the driving force for labor, right? If you have infinite money, you can make anyone do anything you want them to, so you can drive human progression forward. And maybe that's the only point in anything, but probably not, because that would rely you getting out of the simulation if it's a simulation, or getting out of the dimension if it's not, or whatever, right? So all of these things, like, I'm into money in that I'm into conquest and money is power, and I know that that's the only way that I could possibly... Money is the only thing that could possibly allow me to affect reality, right? But I know that if I think... That's only if I think on a human scale. If I think on a normal person who's like some CEO of some big company and they're like, oh, I'm Bill Gates and I fucking know everything. Like, oh, I can change the world, right? Yeah, I can change the world. Oh, wait. But you're not thinking about the fact that the world doesn't matter, right? You're thinking in terms of humans, right? And that's great. Money's fucking great. Cha-ching, right? Money is fucking fantastic for affecting human reality, but that's running the assumption that humans fucking matter, which they don't. Okay, so I care, like, so if I'm under one level of delusion, right? If I'm going to delude myself by one level and pretend, and that's what I have to do every day to get out of bed in the morning, and pretend there's any fucking point in anything, then yeah, money is the thing, right? Money and fame and wealth, if you want to call wealth different to money, and fucking, like, anything that allows you to have control, right? Because these are the things that let you control people, and not in a malicious way, but they let you control reality, because you are one small monkey and you can't solve all the great problems. So the only way you can solve the great problems is by paying other people or motivating other people to solve those problems, right? So if I'm under one level of delusion, yeah, I care about money. But if I'm under 0 levels of delusion, then no, I don't care about money, because I don't care about anything. I just care about the fact that I don't enjoy living. What if our problem is to come up with a solution for the outsider's problem? Then we're a fucking... Why do I care? Then if that's true, right? If I'm the... And to be honest, I think if I had to guess the reason why the universe exists, it's a simulation to find out what happens. Because we're so close to the critical density, I think that I obviously can't tell why this universe exists. It either exists arbitrarily, probably, or it exists because they're trying to fuck with the constants to find an asymptotic universe and observe it. Right, that's what I think the universe would be for. Because otherwise, there's no reason in the strong anthropic principle. There's no right. So there's the anthropic principle, right? There's the weak anthropic principle and the strong anthropic principle. You can say, oh my god, I believe in God because the earth is so perfect for humans. How could humans be here if it weren't for a god, right? And then you say no, because the fact that we're on the planet in the first place, like, precludes the idea that it must fit us, right? We couldn't have evolved on a planet that didn't fit us. So the fact that we're the perfect distance from the sun and all this is not a fucking random miracle. The miracle already happened when we existed. So the fact that we can then look and go, oh well, isn't it amazing that we're at the exact right conditions? No, these are prerequisites to existence, right? So it's the same thing. There's many things that you can look at the universe and say, hey, well, this is a sign of divine intervention or something like that, and it's like, well, no, it's not, because if that didn't exist, if there weren't more matter than antimatter in the universe, then we couldn't observe the fact that there's more matter than antimatter, so it's not proof of a god or anything. But there is proof of something doing stuff. That's this thing, right? This whole universe expanded up to a point. We're so close to this value. That's not necessary within the constants of the universe. There's no reason why we shouldn't be in a crunch universe, very clearly, or a yawn universe, and yet we're in a universe where we don't even know if we're in a crunch universe or a yawn universe because it's so close to that value, right? Which suggests that that's an incredibly fucking lucky fucking shout, right? That could have been the most... If it's all random, I mean, even, like... That's crazy to think that the universe could be random, right? But if it's all random, then... oh my god, I talk too much and my brain just overheated. Okay. If it's all random, then there's no point... Right, if it's all random, there's no reason why we will be at this gravitational constant. So this gravitational constant... the density of the universe suggests that someone's fucking with it, right? So I would suggest that if there's a reason for the universe existing and it's a simulation, it's because some person out there is trying to see what happens when the universe has a specific value. Although I'm not going to pretend that I know what the thought of God is, right? But anyway, why should I care about helping them with their experiment when my life isn't good? Well, I don't care about... So, if my existence is fucking horrible, right? If I'm in this zone... By the way, I never finished my graph, right? Here's my graph. And then once every 2 years, I go in there. Right. My graph is so far into the red that I very... In fact, wait, it's not fair. Occasionally I'm happy, right? But I'm mainly depressed. I spend most of the month depressed, and it's small, and in fact it's way more spiky than that, like, because I can hear a good song or something, I'll briefly be in there, right? So it's like some noise spectra, right? But the average of the noise spectrum is down here, right? It's not nice. This area is not where you want to be. If I'm in this fucking area and someone created me to solve their problem for a scientific experiment, then frankly I don't give a fuck, and I'm not necessary to solve this problem, and probably humans aren't necessary to solve this problem, right? So to me, this is the average of my life. Here's my life, right? And every year, if you multiply what's going on, right, and you take a cross-section of it, right, and multiply that by time, then that finds out the volume, basically, of depression or happiness you experience. No, I don't think I have the capacity to make myself happy. So, if my volume is negative, then every second I'm alive is more bad. Right, and to be honest, my whole, because I don't believe in the idea, I'm a moral relativist, right? I don't believe that there's the fixed morality and that we define morality. And to me, morality should be defined in terms of net good, aka net happiness for people. I think we should do things that make the most people happy and the least people unhappy. But my existence makes me extremely unhappy all the time, and it makes maybe other people get some small spikes of happiness from my existence. And maybe some people have small amounts of unhappiness when I leave shit around the house or whatever, right? Okay, I probably do more net. Probably on the inside I'm down here, but probably on the outside I do slightly more net good on the world than bad, but definitely not in the ecstasy region, right? I'm maybe like slightly above the good line, right? But if you multiply that by, you gotta think about how many people I'm affecting, right? And if you sum all of them and the effects I have, the positive effects I have on those people, right? And then you multiply that by the time that I would be alive if I kept myself alive for the next 40 years, right? And multiply that together, and then halfway by that, by me dying right now and not having to experience this for the next 40 years, I think that my 40 years of depression would outweigh the good that I leave on other people. So in other words, and the other thing is, grief, right? You kill yourself, and that brings people down into the bad line, right? And it makes people depressed for a bit. But the amount of grief, if I wait 40 years, I might have a family and kids. Now, who's going to experience more grief? Family and kids or friends? And I'm still going to have friends in 40 years because I'm a fucking social creature, and I'm always going to be in the position where I'm like, I have a lot of people. I always have a lot of people around me. I always have a lot of friends, and I cultivate very strong friendships, right? So I'm always going to have people who are very fucking upset that I'm dead. And I know this, but the fact is, if I die tomorrow, I'm probably going to have less people upset about me being dead than later. If I achieve my goals and I become famous or something, and actually, like, good things happen to me, then maybe I even have random disembodied people who I never met who are upset about my death. Whereas if I die now, no one gives a fuck other than a few people close to me. The longer I go on in life, the more chance I have. Like, this is the graph of people caring as time goes on, right? The net bad that my death does. My death gets worse and worse and worse, and especially the day I have a family, the day I have kids, boom, death becomes really fucking bad for other people. Right now I don't have dependents. I have a couple of dependents, aka my employees, but I don't have big dependencies. Right, and if I were to end it now, then I would be cutting off all this potential harm that I would be doing in the future by dying. All of this disappears, and yeah, some bad shit happens now, right? So, like this lack of good that I bring into the world, right? This happens, but it's not outweighed by the amount of all this is cut out, right? All this negativity is cut out from my life, and the potential negativity of the people in the future, right? The grief, that's cut out too. And the only reason people can give me to not do it is like, oh, but have you thought about seeing a therapist? Do you think a therapist is going to solve this? Like, do you think a therapist is going to solve that? How can a therapist break the second law of thermodynamics? This exists because of science, right? This is reality, right? They can either put me full of drugs and get me out of this section into this section, which is delusion, right? Or they can take me, they can say some magic words that somehow get me out of this hole that I've been in since I could think, which is not gonna happen. Like, and maybe, like, right, maybe you just, okay, you shouldn't disagree with this information, because, like, e.g., okay, but anyway, maybe you don't see, like, maybe you're in this zone, right? And if you're in this zone, then everything I've said to you, it doesn't even fucking matter anyway. It doesn't matter that nothing matters, because you're still happy, right? So you may as well just fucking frolic on and live your life. But you gotta understand what the difference is between someone who lives in this zone and maybe dips down occasionally, right, and has a bad day, right, and people who exist in this zone, like me, and daily life is not worth living. So then when you're in this zone and you're like, you know what, I'd really like to get out of this zone, and all the words are bad, like suicide and off yourself, and like all of them have really negative connotations. Let's say check out of reality, right? What if I log out, right? If I log out, then I'm gone from there. You know, you're playing a shit game, you log out. You don't keep playing. But when I try to log out, everyone up here from the heavens above that, oh, we really like life, are like, oh, well, that's a bit selfish, isn't it, Alex? That's a bit selfish that we who are generally happy all the time and won't care in 6 months' time that you're dead, we really feel strongly that you should continue to exist in this zone of fucking self-hatred and loathing and life not being worth living. We really think that it's important that you stay here and stay out, because it's selfish not to. Hey, Neville. We're here, so we know that it's definitely worth you existing. Okay, that's really interesting information, though. Yeah, exactly. What do I live for? That's a very good question. Okay, so I live for a few reasons. Guilt, right? That's the main reason I live. I live because everyone around me is like, no, don't kill yourself. And this is this collective agenda to make me live, right? Because it's so fucking important that I'm alive. Why is it important that I'm alive? Why can I not just fucking go? Why does it fucking matter? It's not that I'm upset. People like they're having a bad day and they stand on the edge of a bridge and they're like, oh, well maybe someone will save me, and someone comes along and they don't immediately go, oh shit, this person's trying to save me, better jump the fuck off now. They let themselves be taught down. That's not me, right? I'm not here like crying for help and being like, oh, I'm having a bad year. I'm here always, right? I'm never happy. I'm not like, and I'm never happy because of logic. I'm never happy because I'm feeling bad and I'm having a bad day and it's bad emotions. I'm not happy because because why would anyone be? I think that everyone up here is delusional. I don't know why any of you are happy. I think that you guys are drugged up on like your brain is drugging you full of shit that keeps you alive, right? The thing that's keeping me alive is that all these people make you feel guilty, make you feel insane for thinking these things, right? And the second thing is that I am just a machine, right? I am just this biological thing that if I can't pinch myself, it hurts. Yeah, right? So you don't want to pinch yourself, you don't want to put your hand in fire. It hurts to do things. You notice that a lot of people, right, look at me. This is a difference between me and most people who are crying for help. You see there's no scars on here. Ever. Okay, because that's not me. I've never attempted suicide, right? If I attempted suicide, I would succeed. There's no such thing as an attempt for me. I'm not INTP. Do you not see how E I am? I'm ENFP, right? Okay, I'll go into the simulation in a sec. First, we'll talk about this, right? So the fact is, I'm not in the mood for killing myself, right? Because it's bad, right? It hurts. I'm still this machine that incomes pleasure, right? And out comes pain. And when I really come down to it and I really think about the idea of killing myself, there's this small part of me, the bit of my brain that's like the fucking lizard brain bit that is like, oh, Alex, you can't fucking do this because my sole purpose and your conscious thought here, hello prefrontal cortex, you think you're in charge of me, ho ho ho. Who do you think controls your ability to fucking process alcohol or whatever, right? I'm here. I'm the bit that's really in charge. You're this parasite, right? That's controlling the body and making it do stupid shit. But I'm really in charge. And when you, silly bit of brain, want to end me, I say no, you can't do that. Because I'm the bit of the computer that stops that. I'm the panic switch. You're not allowed to do that shit. You can't, like, this bit of my brain that I'm not in conscious of control of doesn't want me to kill myself. And I can't override it because it's there. That is on a higher plane of existence than me. This thing is this is BIOS, right? I'm Windows, right? This is assembly code and I'm fucking C++ or something, right? So in fact, no, this is what I am. I'm C#, right? And I call with an external DLL a function that's like, I want to drink alcohol today. And then this bit of the brain allows my function call, right? That's this is the C++, right? And that's the, and I extern it, right? And this allows it, right? But when I say, hey, I want to kill myself, then this one goes, hey, motherfucker, function not found. There is no function kill yourself. You're not allowed to do that, right? And that's why I'm alive. But this guy is a prick because I don't like living. But you know what? He's got more important things to think about, like himself, because he's not armed with this knowledge. He doesn't have this. He's just a line of code that says live. Right. He doesn't give a fuck. And everyone else depends on him because I'm hijacking this body, right? Here's the brain, and here's this tiny bit of the brain that's really me. And then here's the eyes and everything. And when I walk into Sam, the eyes are like, why'd you do this to me? I never deserved this. I'm just a collection of cells that didn't want to get sand in them. And you, fucking stupid brain, did something about it. And when I drink too much, the Mr. Liver is like, wow, Alex, I'm just an inanimate liver. I'm just a collection of cells. I'm an organ that's just trying to live. And my skin cells are like, we're just trying to live. Why did you rub us together and burn us off, right? and they don't get a choice in it because I'm this fucking parasite which controls all of them and makes that happen, right? I can punch myself in the head and my brain's like, why would you do that? Ow. Don't punch yourself in the head, Alex, but it has no control over it. But there's this one little prick who's better than me, who also lives in the same brain as me, and he says, no, I have more control over this entire fucking thing than you ever will. You think you're in control, but you ain't. And you know what? He's the same fucking dude where if you die, he'll pump you full of drugs, and he'll make he's your friend, really. He'll make you happy, and as you die, you go into euphoria. This is the dude who's making it happen, but he's doing it on his own terms. He's like, you know what? You die when I say, right? And that's why I am alive. Those are the two reasons. One, I don't want to upset my mum. I don't want to upset you guys. And when you want to, like, I've got to patch Rube bear. It's more important. Yeah, exactly. Lizard Alex doesn't want that. Okay, right. So... why is the universe a simulation? Okay. I'm just gonna demonstrate. Wait, let's see what Surfchild's saying. My ex has signed me up for a therapist. Great. I don't want to go. I'm not giving someone money to tell me shit that I already know, right? Okay. So we're going to talk about why this